January 20th, 2026.
It isn't just a date on the calendar. It's not just another Tuesday. If you actually look at the timeline of the post-war order, this is the singularity.
The official story is that we are in a, quote, period of uncertainty.
Right. The news anchors talk about volatility, but the math says the system has officially dissolved. The institutions you rely on, the dollar in your pocket, the supply chain that feeds you, the treaties that keep the sky clear, they are right now evaporating.
The world you think you live in.
It's already gone.
This is Neural Pulse. Let's analyze.
We have to start in Washington, but not the Washington you're, used to seeing on the news. This isn't politics as usual.
The data coming out of the Capitol is flashing red. We're witnessing a clash between the executive branch and the Federal Reserve that effectively ends the truce between money and politics.
It's not just a clash. It's war.
As of right now, the Department of Justice has opened a criminal investigation into Fed Chair Jerome Powell.
Let that just sink in for a moment. Not a congressional hearing, not a nasty tweet. The Department of Justice is criminally investigating the head of the Central Bank of the United States.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate here for a second. The official pretext, what's on the paperwork, is a $2.5 billion cost overrun on the renovation of the Eccles building, the Fed's headquarters.
Right.
And there are allegations of false testimony. I mean, if money was mishandled, shouldn't there be an investigation?
If you believe this is about drywall and carpeting, I have a bridge to sell you. Our renovation bill is the cover story. It's thin, and it's meant to be thin. It's a message.
So the renovation is a Trojan horse.
It's obviously a Trojan horse. Look at the timing. President Trump is demanding a drastic interest rate cut down to 1%.
1%. And we're currently sitting at what, around 3.6?
Exactly. Powell says no because inflation is still lurking. So suddenly the FBI is very interested in construction costs. This is a hostile takeover of the money supply.
He's trying to force Powell out.
He wants cheap money. And the safety net of an independent central bank, the thing that stops a country from turning its currency into confetti that's standing in his way. So he's removing the obstacle.
The pushback from the Fed isn't subtle, though. We have the Trump versus Cook case at the Supreme Court right now, today, January 20th.
Which goes back to the attempt to fire Fed Governor Lisa Cook, yes.
But the detail that caught my eye is that Jerome Powell is physically attending the hearing.
It's an absurd visual, isn't it? You have the most powerful banker in the world sitting in the Supreme Court gallery like a silent protester. He's basically trolling the White House.
Just by showing up.
By just showing up to work. He's signaling to the markets, I am at war with the president.
And the markets are getting that message loud and clear. They're vomiting.
They are.
Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, issued a warning. He said breaking Fed independence guarantees long-term inflation.
And Trump's response was what? That Dimon only wants high rates to make more money. It's a brilliant political deflection, but it's an economic disaster. The technical arguments don't matter anymore. The NASDAQ is down 2%. The VIX is spiking over 20.
And for the listener who doesn't watch the tickers, explain what a VIX over 20 means.
The VIX is the fear index. It's Wall Street buying insurance against a crash. When it goes over 20, it means the big money isn't pricing in growth anymore. They're pricing in chaos.
So the Trump trade, which used to be about deregulation and growth,
is now pure volatility. They realize the Fed has just been fired. If Powell goes, the dollar stops being a store of value and starts being a political tool.
So the value of the dollar is becoming a political football in D.C. But if you look across the Pacific, the problem isn't just what money is worth. It's whether you can actually buy anything with it.
Yes.
We're seeing the physical supply chain freeze up in East Asia.
And this is where the paper crisis becomes a kinetic one. The supply chain isn't just slowing down, it's being deliberately strangled.
The trigger was Japanese Prime Minister Sana Taichi's Haitaka Doctrine. She stated explicitly that an attack on Taiwan is an existential threat to Japan.
A red line.
And on January 6th, China responded. They invoked export controls on dual-use items to Japan.
And dual use is a diplomatic euphemism for everything that matters. Beijing didn't send a strongly worded letter. They just closed the gates at the World Factory.
The chokehold is specific. China controls 63% of Japan's rare earth imports. But for the heavy rare earths, dysprosium and terbium, that dependence is nearly 100%.
And you need to understand the physics here. This isn't about cheap plastic toys. Dysprosium and terbium are the core ingredients for high-performance magnets. Without them, you don't have an electric vehicle motor.
Or a wind turbine.
Or a wind turbine.
Yeah.
Or the guidance system for a smart missile.
So Japan is cut off. The assumption for years was that Vietnam would be the alternative. But as of January 1st, Vietnam also banned raw rare earth exports. So where does Tokyo go?
They have nowhere to go. That's the point.
Well, they're gambling. Deep sea mining, they have projects spinning up near Minamotorishima. But we're not talking about digging a hole in the ground. This is 6,000 meters underwater.
Which is desperation, plain and simple. That technology is experimental, it's incredibly expensive. Trying to replace a reliable Chinese supply chain with underwater robots is like trying to farm on the moon because the grocery store closed. It just shows you how cornered Tokyo really is.
It also kills the efficiency model.
Exactly. The just-in-time efficiency model that built the modern economy, it's dead. You can't run a high-tech civilization when your primary rival can just turn off the tap for the raw materials of the future. The supply chain is now a weapon.
If you're a Japanese manufacturer today, your inventory is effectively zero.
It's zero.
Speaking of zero, let's look at what happens when that just-in-time philosophy meets a debt crisis here at home. The corporate sector is starting to implode.
This is where the macro hits the street level. The debt-based lifestyle is over.
The headline casualty is Saks Global. On January 14th, they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Now, retail bankruptcies happen, but the mechanics here are terrifying. It wasn't just banks calling in loans. It was a vendor revolt.
A vendor revolt. That's a polite way of saying the people who make the actual stuff stop trusting the people who sell the stuff.
It's massive.
Yeah.
Top brands just stopped shipping product. Saks owes Chanel $136 million.
$136 million to one vendor.
They owe Kering, that's Gucci's parent company, $60 million. LVMH, $26 million.
Think about that. Even the luxury sector, which is supposed to be recession-proof, is dissolving. If the too big-to-fail retailers are being cut off by their suppliers, the entire credit trust system is broken. A contract is just a piece of paper.
And while the financial structures are breaking, the physical ones are under attack from the digital realm. Jaguar Land Rover.
Yes.
They suffered a massive ransomware attack by a group calling themselves Scattered Lapsus Dollar Hunters.
This wasn't a glitch. This was a total shutdown.
Production stopped. For 3 weeks, the estimated loss is £1.9 billion. And it's not just cars. The European Space Agency, ESA, was hacked by a group called 888.
And what did they get?
200 gigabytes of sensitive data. Satellite controls. Source code.
So this is the breakdown of corporate reality. The digital world is now breaking the physical world. Cars aren't being built because of code. Satellites are compromised because of code. The so-called firewall between data and reality has just burned down.
How do you price a company that can be turned off for 3 weeks by a teenager in a basement?
You can't. You simply can't.
So we have a politicized dollar, a weaponized supply chain, and corporate systems that are either bankrupt or hacked. The listener might be thinking, okay, I'm not a central bank, I'm not a Japanese manufacturer, and I don't shop at Saks.
Right. This isn't my problem.
But this macro policy is coming for their personal wallet.
This is the turn. This is where it stops being about them and it starts being about you.
Trump is proposing a federal cap on credit card interest rates at 10%.
Which sounds great, doesn't it?
It sounds like a gift. The average rate is around 23% right now. People hear 10% and think, finally, a bailout for the little guy.
It's a seduction. It's a trap.
Explain the track.
The math doesn't work for the banks. I mean, it's that simple. If inflation is near 4% and the risk of default is high, they cannot cover the cost of unsecured lending at 10%. They're not charities.
So they don't just take less profit.
No. They say, okay, we're closing your account.
The Bank Policy Institute is calling it a credit desert. Their models show that 2/3 of users who currently carry a balance will simply lose their credit lines.
Gone. Overnight. Just gone.
And all the perks go with them. The rewards programs, your airline miles, your cash back, they'll vanish. But worse, the subprime borrowers, the people who actually need that liquidity to survive the month.
They get pushed out of the banking system entirely to predatory lenders, loan sharks.
So if you're listening to this and you rely on a credit card for an emergency, a car repair, a medical bill,
that lifeline is about to be cut. The institutions will protect their margins by dumping you. The safety net isn't just gone for the Fed, it's gone for your household budget. We are moving into a cash-only economy for the bottom 60% of the population, and they don't have the cash.
And while your credit is drying up, the global leaders are sealing themselves off. We have to talk about Davos.
Davos, yes. The annual ritual of the Great Disconnect.
It's happening right now. The public theme is, get this, spirit of dialogue,
Of course it is.
But the real action is at a side event called the Power of 40.
The Power of 40. It sounds like something from a bad movie.
It's an ultra-exclusive meeting, only 40 elites, no press, no transcripts, backroom deals only.
So while the public face of Davos is talking about dialogue, the actual power brokers are going dark. They're forming a lifeboat for themselves.
And look at what they're ignoring. Iran is in the middle of a revolution. There's an internet blackout, the currency has collapsed, Ukraine is freezing in a fourth winter of stalemate.
The world is burning, and the fire brigade is locking themselves in a private room. This is the final blow. The era of outsourcing your survival to the system is over.
You're saying no one is coming to save you.
No one. When the grid flickers and your credit card is declined, the only government left is you. Stop asking what will they do and ask what will I do.
It sounds like a power vacuum.
It is a vacuum, and vacuums are violent. You have two choices. You can be a dependent waiting for a system that is actively collapsing to save you, or you can become what I call a warlord of your own life.
That's a heavy term. A warlord.
And a heavy time. I don't mean buying tanks. I mean taking absolute command of your own logistics, your own security, your own economy.
Becoming self-sovereign.
Exactly. If the just-in-time delivery system stops, do you have what you need? If your credit limit goes to zero tomorrow, can you function? You can either be a victim waiting to happen, or you can be the warlord of your own life.
The vacuum is here.
Interpret the silence accordingly.
Neural pulse. Clarity in a complex world. Decide your move.